Welcome to the On the Hill podcast, episode 1, and with Pastor Victor and Pastor Danny. And on this first episode, we really unpacked the idea of camping. And as a new camper myself, I was really observing this idea of camping. And I noticed that this whole experience is built on living with less, living with subtraction in mind as for as many days as you can. And we just explored that together, and it was a new concept for me. Was it new for you?
New for me also. It was
Yeah,
good.
and we really talk about that, and also just the dynamics of a love relationship, and just how it's not static, it's ever growing, and perfection is not perfect, and God's idea of perfection is different than ours. So enjoy this first episode of the On the Hill podcast. And we're off. We're here.
We are here.
We are here. Thank you, all those who are listening and watching us online. I am Pastor Victor.
And I am Pastor Danny.
And this is the On the Hill podcast.
Yes, welcome indeed.
Welcome. So this is our first podcast, and I think to start us off, we're here in Oregon, and there's nothing better to start our podcast off than talking about camping.
Camping.
And going outdoors.
Camping. This is funny from you.
Yes. 2.5 years here from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Cold, brittle.
People don't camp in Wisconsin?
No, they don't. I shouldn't say this. Ice fishing is a thing.
Yes.
Ice fishing is a thing. We have some nice woods, but when 9 months of the year is freezing,
True.
there's just not a lot of play for you.
Okay.
And then when the summer comes, at least in the city, every week is a different festival. So there's an Asian festival, a French festival, Puerto Rican festival.
Right.
So you're not looking to camp because you'll miss the festivals.
Got it. So you have a lot of summer activity in town.
In the city. And so you have a ton of choices and a ton of options. One of those options is camping, but you're like, I'm going to miss the X thing.
Right.
And so here it's the opposite. There isn't a ton, at least here in Hillsborough, to happen in the city. And so, a lot of people spend time out, and I'm beginning to understand it.
There's a culture here.
There is.
Yeah.
It's great. It's fun. I didn't.
Fun. Wow, Victor, you went from don't want to, now it's fun.
It's fun. It is. Now,
Why? Why is it fun for you now?
There's something about. There's something to be said about nature that you can't even put into words.
That is very true.
I can't. There's nothing to measure. You're in the woods. You're surrounded by trees. You're hearing, and there's a synchronicity in it. I can't explain it, and because I've never experienced it before, it's been so odd. And now finally, I'm like, okay, this is fun.
There's a smell to it.
Yeah.
You wake up to the smell.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
You smell pine. You smell the ocean. It's like, you know what? Food tastes twice as better.
It does.
I'm not sure what it is.
It's the conversations.
Our conversations are better.
Way better.
People are just natural. Yeah. Conversations are better. Food's better. Surroundings are better. Camping, right? Yeah.
It's weird. And so I just went camping. I don't remember where. It was in Detroit, Oregon, and I love that area. There's something, I just feel at home. And so we're going, and as we're packing, I'm getting this thing. There's just this idea coming to me. And we're packing, and that's a whole endeavor in and of itself. Packing for camping.
What's your mentality? It's like, do you take just enough?
Right.
Or do you go, I could live with that?
Right. It's a whole thing. And so, you're deciding, you're going through it. And but as I'm packing, I'm going, okay, a lot of my decision making is not about addition. It's not about how much I bring. It's how can I live with as little as possible.
Do you like the grunge?
What's that?
Like, I wear the same clothes all 3 days.
Yes.
My wife gets this nasty.
Yeah.
But I love the grunge.
Me too. It's great. Uh-huh. But I bring extra clothes.
Yeah, underwear's good, but I grunge, right? Yeah.
And this kind of, gets me to my thinking is the whole concept of camping that I really enjoy is that it's not about how much I'm taking with me, it's how much can I live without.
Yeah.
And so I pack up my car full of stuff, but the concept is I want as little as possible to go with me, right? From my home, at least. So it's as little blankets as possible, as little pillows as possible. And so my car fills up, but really it's as minimal as I can get to live for the next 3 to 4 days. And so I camped for Thursday to Sunday. 4 days.
Why is that? Why does less stuff? I mean, we have the comforts of home, but
yes.
Why? For a brief moment, I'm not sure we could do this all month long.
Right.
But why does having less stuff in a brief moment bring such
excitement?
Energy? Yeah. Well, why? What is that?
Yeah.
Why leaving your computer behind, internet behind, your nice bed behind?
Yeah.
What is it? We're a little uncomfortable, but
you don't get the same sleep.
No, but you sleep well.
Right.
You're like, oh man, you go out. You're like, something about the nature knocks you out.
Yeah. The whole thing is there's something to be said about living with less, even if it's for 4 days. And there's something to your point about being uncomfortable that we're seeking. I think it begs the question almost, are we too comfortable that we're seeking uncomfort?
I grew up in LA. We didn't have hills. We had hills, but nothing like camping and stuff, right? And one of the things that really got me down was that how boring the weather was. It's just always warm, or not just always 70, and there was no discomfort. There's no disequilibrium.
Right.
And one thing I enjoy about the Northwest is that when the sun comes out, I'm excited.
Yeah.
When the winter is here, I'm excited.
Yeah.
When the spring, every season, like I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
In LA, it was just like, just we never even think about the weather.
Right.
It's just this, and I wonder, because we got so used to life, just being comfortable. There's no enjoyment of things. You know what I'm saying? There's no disequilibrium. We don't have anything to get up for.
There's no friction.
Yeah. And that's interesting. And we don't anticipate things. We don't want things. We're like, everything's good. We could just sit there and just be happy all day. Well, not happy, just regular all day. And I wonder if camping kind of feeds into that. I wonder if it has something to do with, with sin. But I don't believe God created disequilibrium. I don't think he created conflict, but somehow because of sin, he had to initiate some kind of unbalance in a way to get us moving or thinking inactive and not active.
Well, it's interesting because Eve, okay, let's go there for a second. She, on some level, was not okay with perfect.
Right, she wanted something more.
She was intrigued by friction. She was intrigued by good and evil. And now she bites, and now this thought and this curiosity turns into physical. There's friction. And so now when life on earth gets too comfortable, we're like, man, how can we make it a little uncomfortable? Is that where that comes from?
Wow. And you're asking a big question. I wondered to myself, because Adam was perfect, but he was not perfect. It was incomplete. And there's a dynamic with God. And I think we have a misunderstanding of perfection. I think we think perfection is bliss.
Yeah.
And I don't think God thinks that way.
Me neither.
I'm not saying God is bad and evil. I'm not saying that. But I believe God is dynamic. You know, he's a pull and tug. He's expectancy and kind of like, I don't think boredom, but kind of like waiting to move. You know what I'm saying?
Well, there's dynamic in relationship.
In good ones.
In good ones.
Uh-huh.
In great ones.
Actually, the great ones have that. All great relationships have that.
They do. Great marriages are the ones where I'm going this way, and then there's a fun there. There's something fun there.
This is a great topic. I mean, this is a brand new topic because I always pictured in my mind God as this blissful state, nirvana, and maybe I got that wrong. And then your camping thing kind of hits on me a little bit. Maybe I'm looking for the wrong thing. But I think we're looking for this total peace, nothing movement, just everything static. And I think maybe that's not it. Maybe this camping thing. Maybe I thought maybe it's just maybe after the fall we brought this chaos. But maybe it's even pre-fall. I never thought about it. Even pre-fall, there might be this pull and tug and shaping and dynamic and missing and not lonely, but missing you, wanting you.
Well, God saw Adam and went, it is not good that he's alone.
Fascinating.
Right?
Wow.
In a perfect world, in a perfect environment, God could look at Adam and go, something's not right
That's
here.
not right.
That's not good.
I read Genesis this past month, and what fascinated me was that God, he moves to certain spaces. You know, he's not just like, you know, and he pushes and pulls and wow, you know, it intrigued me. You know, God is not just
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, God, this is different.
Well, I mean, in a very real way, he created us in his image. And we are incredibly dimensional. Rubik's cubes. There's sides, and it's moving, and it's and then you know, when I was doing a Rubik's cube and I was learning, I'd get the all white and I'd turn it over and everything else was a mess. Right? And it's, you know, this whole experience is dynamically us and God trying to figure out the Rubik's cube. And perfect to us is the Rubik's cube, all the colors in their place all the time. And I think perfect to God is something totally different.
Yeah, I'm seeing that.
It's something totally different. Like my son, he's a 6-year-old. He's perfect at 6.
Right.
Not perfect in behavior.
No.
But he's right where he needs to be mentally. Exploring, curious, touching the hot stove. What is right? Asking questions. He's perfect in his stage. But I'm expecting at 16 for him to be in a totally different place. But can he be perfect at 16? Now he's questioning different things.
Yeah.
He's tugging and pulling. You know, I look at Eden. And she's perfect for 16. And it's like, perfect is this way. It's not this way.
Right. There's a dynamic all the way through.
Yeah.
Let's come back to this camping thing, because this is interesting to me. Have we lost? Are we losing the disequilibrium? You know, are we constantly fighting for equilibrium? And camping gets us off kilter again, you know, and that's why we, you know.
And then we come back and we're like,
right, but that's good.
Right.
We miss the, you know, you're right. Sleeping in your own bed.
You're like, okay, I'm back.
Right. But is that the goal of life? Just, you know, but that seems to be the goal of our life in our society. We aim for that nirvana
utopia.
State. Yeah.
Perfect. Everyone has a chance.
Right.
Yeah.
But we always know this, and we've read enough novels and books that when people reach that state, It's boredom.
Mm-hmm.
It's just gray.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Even in happiness or joy or peace, whatever, it's just
Mm-hmm.
dystopia.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, I don't want that. And I guess that's Lucifer's argument. You need evil to have good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's playing on that lie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, playing on the truth, sorry. A lie has to hinge on truth,
Mm-hmm.
right? So his play is, well, you need evil for goodness to exist. And God's saying, no, I don't need evil. You can have the dynamic. You can have the give and take without evil.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an interesting thing.
So how do you do that here now? How do you create, without exploring evil, create dynamic friction for you to be to have that?
Be curious. Explore,
try something new.
Yeah. I think that's what heaven is, right? That's why heaven is so wonderful. We're curious, we're exploring, we're learning. We don't know,
Right.
and we're like little. That's the best part of not knowing is learning things, you know.
Right.
And I guess heaven is me just constantly learning things, experiencing things,
experiencing God
in new ways every single day.
Right. In completely new, challenging, and guess what? Perfect ways.
They're all perfect. They're not evil.
Right. And I wonder if when we get to heaven, you're experiencing God a little differently than me.
That I was hitting on that. That's what I was thinking, because every single entity in heaven experiences God differently.
Yeah.
And so God will be there,
Of course.
yes. But then as we experience God through other people,
yeah,
we get to experience God in a different way.
Yeah.
Every single person, every single angel we meet.
Well, and it's happening now.
You're right.
This conversation, I'm experiencing God and wisdom and knowledge in a different way by talking to you.
Maybe this is heaven on earth, right?
Experiencing God in new ways keeps the dynamic.
See, this is fascinating. Going back, because I think I've had heaven wrong. Really, this is making me really rethink this. Because I always thought heaven was a nirvana state, this place of bliss. And now I'm thinking maybe that's not it at all. And that's why you can have heaven on earth. Because you're right, on earth, we never have bliss on earth. We have momentary moments of satisfaction.
Right.
But we never have bliss. And I'm thinking, well, maybe this is only short, and then heaven will be bliss. I'm thinking, maybe I have it all wrong. Maybe it is this. Maybe it is this dynamic. Maybe it is this longing and desiring and curiosity and pushing. Not to say evils exist up there, but to have just this constant
dynamic. I think that's the word. Camping creates dynamic, a different element to our physical experience that elevates our regular experience.
I think camping also speaks to life. I think that's where it takes another step. Because I think this life, we've made these, I guess, how do you say this? Kind of like a rat race, this life,
Or idea.
Yeah, or the idea of life. And camping really kind of removes that and then focuses it on different things.
It minimalizes everything.
Because camping, people, God, food, just simple enjoyment, like pleasure, simple pleasure, like fishing or just, walking through trails or, building or cutting, you know what I'm saying? The pleasures are very simple. And I wondered to myself, have we in our own lives have made things overcomplicated? We try to oversimplify. We try to reach that nirvana state, and we're missing the reality of such. And camping helps us get to the truer dynamic.
It's interesting because Jesus, when he says, "I don't have a home," right, and he's living in this state of minimalism, he's able to hone in on his mission. He's able to hone in on his goal. And for his goal, it was saving us, and it was dying for us, and it was creating a new wave of thinking and spirituality and everything that he accomplished. But there's something to the thinking of, I don't have a lot to bog me down. I am moving, I am agile, I am minimal, I am here, then I am there, then I am where I need to be. And if I have this thing, it's an anchor to what God has for me.
Yeah.
And I wonder if camping takes us to that mentality, that minimalist. I need only what I need rather than wanting what I don't need.
I think Jesus, when he had those moments with his disciples, always took them away. You know, he took them out to the countryside, took them out to the Red Lake, took them out away from, because I think this world, we fall into these traps.
Yeah, he spent a lot of time alone too.
Yeah, and he always says, let's go away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's spend time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think camping is that perfect example for us. Let's get away. You know, let's get away from this existence and get to the true dynamic.
Yeah.
And I think the camping, in a way, forces that dynamic. It's really just, I won't say it's about survival, but it's very minimalistic. It's just us. It's just living. It's just, you know, there's not this
It's
other
just relationship.
stuff. Right. It's not this other stuff we're doing, work and whatnot. I'm pretty sure Adam and Eve, their main job was just tilling the soil, just taking care of the land, you know? They weren't just bogged down with bosses, employers, and W-2s and whatnot, you know, shopping or... Life is interesting.
I mean, do you think that the gospel of God, of Jesus Christ, is a gospel of subtraction? Or do you think it's a gospel of addition?
I think it can be both. Subtraction from the artificial world, in addition to what is true.
Yeah.
You know? And I think maybe then that's the fight for the Christian. I think camping can really symbolize where a Christian needs to be. You need to get away from
this thing, but add this thing.
Yes. And I think camping, and that's why I think you have been drawn to it. I think that's why I get drawn to it.
Right.
You know, my wife and I, we love going out. Now we bring an RV with us. She likes the comforts of home.
I love that.
But she loves just getting outside and being out in nature. She loves it. You know, we're still minimizing, I guess, but there's something said to be said that we are removing ourselves from this existence and finding another existence, and there's something to tap into that. And I think Oregon has been fortunate for its history that we've always had an opportunity to do that. I think people have benefited.
Well, I think the West Coast, more sun, more outdoors, more beaches. You know, I came out here, and the Midwest is so blue collar, head down, get it done. It is what it is.
Yeah. Factory worker.
East Coast is moving, bustle, hustle.
Boston, New York.
I came here, and I'm like, it slows down a bit.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little slower here. But I think it speaks to that.
Yeah.
Because we're subtracting more than we're adding, in a sense. There's a pace. There's a different cadence.
I've pastored in Washington, Oregon, and California, Northern California, and Southern California, and I've seen people in all various parts, and people who are connected more to nature. They have a better disposition. They do, and that's why one of the reasons why I decided, you know, when I have kids, I want to raise them kids with nature, because I realized, wow, you know, just having nature
accessible.
Yes, it makes a difference in our young people.
It does.
And I said, you know, growing up in LA, and I said, you know, I see where I had problems because I grew up in this environment.
Yeah, me too.
And I said, you know, I want to do it a little different. And so I asked God, God, if you can, please let me pastor in some nature.
Yeah.
And Oregon hit that bill, you know, and been blessed. Camping. That. It's cheap.
Relatively easy. Building a fire has been
building a fire.
Has been more interesting than I thought.
Try building a fire in Olympia Park. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Soggy wood.
I can't even imagine.
I'm not sure we get that done.
Yeah. But that's the idea, and that's what I'm learning.
Very cool.
That's what I'm learning. You know, this whole experience of camping, and soon it'll be hiking. We'll see what I gather. We'll see what I gather from there. But this experience of camping is really, it's taken me for a loop. It's taken me time, but it's got me to this place. If I subtract, I'm accessing a new experience, and there's something to this that replicates what God has in store for me.
And maybe that's something we could do on a daily basis. I think we need to subtract. I mean, I know camping is nice. You could physically do it. But I think in a daily practice, I believe it's a real spiritual discipline to subtract.
Yeah.
You know, I think I try too hard to be comfortable. You know, and there's something to be said of not being comfortable.
There's this interesting sermon set that I have in the tucked away, and it's spiritual mathematics, and it's about people, but not about this. But it's about people who subtract, people who add, and people who multiply. And to your point, if I look at my life in terms of addition, what are the things that I can subtract? What are the things that I can add?
Yeah.
And what are the things that are going to multiply? Or, you know, to take it further, what are the things that are dividing me?
Okay.
You know, what and am I coasting? Am I doing none of it? You know? But that's it. You know, can we get to a place in our daily lives where we're evaluating and saying, you know what, I think I can subtract this. I think I can subtract this. And I think I can add this. And when you get there, now you're not physically camping, but you're spiritually camping in your home.
I love it. Camping.
Thank you all for listening. Subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. If you're on YouTube, you can listen to this podcast anywhere where you can Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else where you can listen to podcasts. This is the On the Hill Podcast, episode number 1.
See you next time.